Our protagonist used to be a holy knight but was so unlucky that he was logged out by the demons. He thought he was dead, but unexpectedly, God let him reincarnate as a skinny cat. Rather, in this world, he was considered the ultimate monster bimos of the S-class, the top of the quadrupedal class of magical beasts. According to information from his previous life, S-class dangerous monsters are enough to flatten an entire country, and now our young man has reincarnated into such a creature. The only problem is that he is still young and doesn't know how to fight. The skinny cat's mood right now is hard to describe. He didn't expect that he would turn into a cat. This is really crazy. The scene changes to the city where the grapefruit elf girl is. Aria's name is Living Today. This morning is the same as yesterday morning. She dressed up and went to the Adventurers Guild to receive a quest. During that time, the S-rank soldier was still hanging around the dungeon. This is so dark. It's really ironic that from a knight, he was reincarnated as a cat. Thinking back, I found that being alive like this is also fun, so let's accept it. Fate has decided, so here, Skinny Cat faces a slim E-rank monster at the bottom of society. He is speechless with this creature, not only weak but also arrogant. Wheeze wheeze. I was the one who found it funny, but after checking his skills, he discovered he had some basic moves, so he tried them out and opened his mouth to sneeze. That's how Slim, the stupid guy, met his end. Until now, Skinny Cat still hasn't eaten anything, so his stomach is a bit hungry, and he has no choice but to stick his tongue into that pile of slime to see if it's edible. How the hell does it taste like jelly? It's quite delicious. Not only does it satisfy his stomach, but also he received the skill of the creature he chewed. He chewed up the remaining feces and put it in his inventory. It was really convenient because Arya was currently sitting on a boat going to the labyrinth located not far from the city. Normally, when they got here, they would have to go out. The guard had to show her guild card to prove her identity after confirmation before letting her go in. On the deeper floors, he was facing a B-rank wyvern related to dragons, but this creature was a bit weak, resulting in it being shot by Skinny Cat and rolling over. Thanks to that, S-rank soldiers have a new skill called flying. The monsters here are not too strong, so Skinny Cat can completely make a salad of them, from cows to rocks. As long as they are monsters, they will all be eaten by he. Even Orochimaru's manda snake was swallowed by him. As for Arya, she doesn't know about the great changes inside the dungeon she just entered. Like usual, she had to use a type of stone to open the door leading to a deeper level. The Skinny Cat just happened to find the treasure chest shining halo. Just by looking at it, you can tell this is a rare item that he had never found in his previous life. He was curious and ran to open it to see inside. It was a beautiful magic stone. But the problem was it was a bit black because it was scorched when it was teleported straight to where the monster was living. Because they were both S-class monsters, both sides quickly felt that the other side was truly qualified. But this bet is not balanced at all. The other side is a dragon with a giant body weighing a ton. Looking back at he thought, I'm so bored, I probably can't even get 3 ounces like this. How can I fight? Besides, dragons are a species with a high territorial guard. It asked Skinny Cat, do you want to die or something? Why did you dare to disturb my sleep? Then it was like, oh, but this life is over. He tried to struggle and attack the dragon's body, but it was useless. Luckily, he received a skill just now that hardened his body, which reduced the damage received, but he still had 2 crippled legs. The earth dragon praised the cat when it got hit by the dragon's claw but did not die. It was about to attack. When it finished, Skinny Cat grew wings to run away before leaving. He didn't forget to give the earth dragon a shot that made it angry. On the other side, Arya starts to remember the reason why she became an adventurer. Back then, she was saved from the demons by a benefactor. So, she really admires the place she passed by, which was the place where he was dying and crawling out. She thought it was the first day of reincarnation and she had to log out, but then that girl ran over to rescue him. A few days later, when he woke up, he found himself lying on a bed. All his wounds were bandaged very carefully by Arya. On top of that, he was also taken care of by a female student, making him think this was an angel. He was more surprised than she was. He saw her as a kitten, not a dangerous S-class monster. Time just passed. The Skinny Cat was cared for, so his wounds healed very quickly. This was partly because every day he got to lie on a tray of 5 fruits. Arya's body was completely healed, but she still took care of him. In return for this favor, Skinny Cat considered the girl as his master and swore that in this life, he would follow and protect Arya until her last breath. Finally, waiting for the mistress to leave, he silently followed her all the way into the dungeon, wondering if it would be okay for her to go alone like this. After all, she was a weak woman. In general, Arya is not too strong but still enough to defeat D-level demons. Her skill is super speed, which helps her attack faster. Suddenly, at this moment, a pretty smart goblin appeared. He did not know that this was a mutant strain that used magic, so Arya was surprised. Luckily, there was a skinny cat, so he helped her and defeated the monster. However, the owner discovered him, and she was shocked and wondered why. Why is he here? When he returned, he was also allowed to lie on 2 grapefruits, so he was extremely happy. They then went to the Adventurers Guild to eat and drink but were stopped by a guy. This guy aimed at his sweet body. He had been asking her to join the team for a long time. Arya refused but was still made to feel uncomfortable by Gusman. He was about to touch her when Bio spit him. He could not forgive that hateful guy. He looked at his master with lustful eyes, so he scratched him a few times and angrily pulled out his sword to slash, but was stopped by the perverted sister in the guild. Anna reminded him of the guild's rules: no fighting. This woman was a former B-rank adventurer, so the other party knew her well. They were quite close, so they told Arya to let them know if she had any problems. They also praised Skinny Cat for having potential when he stood up to protect his owner. It was also the second time the elf girl was saved, so she named him Tamima. This meant that from now on, he could openly stay by her side after completing a mission. Anna told her that little he was about to be promoted, which made her very happy because she was in high spirits. So, she also took the cat out to play with and touched his 2 quail eggs, making him cry out in pain. Skinny Cat realized that his owner really liked to drink alcohol but easily got drunk. He showed dissatisfaction and ended up being dragged into the bath with a girl. Being a proud knight but still having to watch other people change clothes like this is really humiliating, but seeing that grapefruit is so big, he also threw his dignity to the dogs to jump in and hug Arya. He sighed and asked Tamima if she could be stronger. Her hometown used to be frequently attacked by demons. At that time, a hero appeared to protect the people. Arya wanted to follow her example, so she really wanted to become a sword saint. She also heard the story of the hero. Alisa then acted closely to encourage her, just like a gentle friend would do. The next day, the two were together walking around Arya's street. Because of her honest nature, everyone loved and greeted her, buying cheap goods. It was a fun atmosphere, but when it came to the party, something big happened. Guzman invited her over and over again to drink, but she refused, so he was very angry. Seeing this guy, he immediately bristled, showing his strong will. The other guy received the order to kill him. Because he had injured he the day before, Anna couldn't do anything to intervene because this guy had a relationship with Baron Arya. She didn't want the cat to die, so she begged the other guy to be generous and forgive him. Seeing that, the guy acted kind and made a request for a duel between the two sides. If the girl won, this order would be invalidated as if nothing had happened. On the contrary, if she failed, Arya would have to end the relationship. Kiss me! This was the real purpose for Guzman to play this trick. Everyone was also angry but could not stand up to protect Skinny Cat, so Arya agreed. The duel that lasted until the evening, under the witness of everyone, was about to begin. The other guy was a C-rank adventurer, and Arya was only a D-ranker. Her strength and experience were clearly less. Guzman agreed to let her find allies, but no one dared to mess with Nam Tuc's family. Seeing that, Tamima stood up and showed his will to live. Anna also understood and agreed to let him fight alongside his owner. The other guy laughed at a child. What can that cat do to me? He was extremely angry and wanted to make him pay for his actions towards Arya. As soon as the battle started, he rushed straight to attract attention so that his friend could attack Guzman, looking disdainful. Skinny Cat had already gone to find a place to hide, so he was satisfied, but when Guzman slashed, he dodged. Tamima was afraid that using a skill would expose his status as a rank S soldier, so he chose to attack Arya normally. She jumped out and rushed to protect him. But the guy guessed it and kicked her, seriously injuring her body. Everyone knew about her speed, so he was prepared to see this situation and knew that the master could not win. If he was still there, they would lose everything. Arya did not give up and continued to throw arrows at that bastard. Seeing this, she wanted to teach him a lesson to let the little one understand what it means to attack. The elf girl fell into a passive position and could only block. Tamima thought that if he used his skills, he would only need one hit to defeat this guy. Guzman knocked away Arya's 2 swords and looked at her, happy because he finally got her. Seeing that, Tamima rushed in to protect her, using the hardening skill to make the other guy's weapon shatter. Not stopping there, he roared, sending the opponent flying far away. The sword hilt flew after him and stabbed him in the lower body, making the audience laugh happily and feel satisfied because they protected their master. After witnessing the action from Skinny Cat, they started talking as if they thought it had been revealed that he was an S-class monster. However, Anna and Arya called him an elemental cat and looked happy. It turned out there were still similar creatures out there. As if the magic spell was theirs, victory was won by everyone. After this incident, he felt a little bad because the cat was cute. A few days later, Skinny Cat woke up on Aria's big round breasts, feeling that sleeping like this every night was really great. This girl really likes being Iron Man, so she also let the cat know by placing her cheek against it. The owner was so happy that she licked her ear. This part is extremely sensitive for elves like her, but suddenly she felt like she loved the skinny cat more and wanted to do it a few more times. Tam-Ma was shocked. I didn't expect the owner to. Later, the couple went to the familiar blacksmith shop of her friend. At first glance, they could see that this girl belonged to the cat clan. Recently, adventurers had been gossiping about Tama, so this woman, very much like Aria, proudly introduced it as her little elemental cat. She seemed excited and wanted to hug it. Seeing this person was very good, and being close to the owner, she acted affectionate. Just like that, she lay on the other person's chest. Although she didn't need to be as terrifying as Aria, it was still enough for Beam to roll around comfortably. For the elf girl, meeting Tama was like a dream. It made me think that I should say this correctly. I never thought that touching a girl's breasts would be so easy. I need to ask what they came here for today. If it was the weapon Aria placed last time, it's not done yet. Actually, she came for something else. She wanted this friend to make her cat light armor. Hearing that, the little girl's eyes lit up because she found this matter really interesting. They shook hands and took measurements since they were in their growth phase, so the sizes would need to be adjusted to last as long as possible. After realizing that the monster had special abilities, Aria also invited it to explore the dungeon with her, of course, because he swore to protect his master. And that whole night, he didn't sleep and was busy creating the armor. The armor for Tamama was finished the next morning when I went to see her. In general, due to her small size, it was completed very quickly. Aria saw it like this and praised it. It was even cuter than before. She knew that her friend had stayed up all night to do it and silently thanked the two beautiful sisters, then talked about Aria's twin swords. Because of their speed, she needed the lightest weapon possible to maximize her inherent abilities. However, reducing the materials would make the sword weaker and more susceptible to damage. The elf looked sad because she still couldn't master the dual swords. She tried to find a solution and invited her friend to create a temporary team to fight monsters together in case she ran out of ideas. Seeing Aria's fighting style, she thought of an idea for forging weapons later. All three were present on the first floor. Thunson was at C rank but still very strong. The weapon she used was a hammer. Using all the strength of the beast's hands, one must admit that this woman is stronger than the members of the Tiger-Armed clan. She also has a skill, resist magic. After being set on fire, she absorbed it into her hand and then pierced the monster. Aria found it strange. Asking around, she discovered that it was a type of blacksmith skill like hers. People here call it a derivative skill. Suddenly, at this moment, there was a lewd pig that smelled the scent of the conqueror. It drooled and wanted to have both. This time, it was Aria's turn to act. Looking at the target was disgusting, but she still had to beat the very unpredictable pig. Having learned how to attack since childhood, she was able to block it. She was about to slash when the elf jumped up. She blocked it with her indestructible diamond body. Taking advantage of the opportunity, the elf slashed at her opponent's head. Although she had won, Aria was not happy because she realized that she was too weak. Even though she had just leveled up, it felt no different from the adventurer who pretended to be a warrior just now. I noticed that the sword was too long and hindered my friend's actions. I knew she wanted to get stronger quickly. The blacksmith also invited her downstairs, where there were mainly slimy monsters that made her drool. She imagined the main scene herself. The dirty person was also scared to deal with this type and needed to think of many plans. Hearing that, Aria cheered up and told the cat to follow her immediately. She used terrifying speed to slash towards the monster. The monster's reaction was very good. It attacked the opponent with 8 arms, making it very difficult for the big grapefruit girl to approach it. If it kept moving like that, its owner would not be able to defeat the hideous monster. Her teammates entered the battle and knocked away a sword from the little Aria. Seeing that, she continued to break through her limits. After her body became a little lighter, she fought evenly with the creature. However, she still had many weak points and was damaged by the monster. The weapon was immediately replaced with a short knife. Aria successfully defeated it. It turned out that this was the most suitable fighting style for the elf. Meow realized that the owner's movements were very different from before. Just now, it seemed like using both hands at the same time made her more confident. After seeing through the opponent's movements, Aria easily dodged to continue, nearly cutting off a few arms. Unfortunately, the mucus sprayed all over her face, and seeing this scene, she didn't want to go in. Tam-Ma heard the owner's groans and looked at her with wide eyes, showing resentment for being beaten and humiliated in front of the kitten. So she rushed in and launched a finishing blow, cutting the monster into pieces with a new skill. It seemed that after finding a suitable short weapon, the experience accumulated over time was enough, so Arya woke up in the middle of the battle. She saw the corpse and wanted to eat it to gain skills, but the taste was so bad and bitter. Luckily, she got what she wanted. It allowed her to mate with another species. The elf was shooting out endlessly, causing anger in the corpse, leaving the other two helpless. A moment later, they went outside, and Arya explained that she had chosen a striped weapon because she admired the Holy Sword Lord when she was young. Although she knew herself that she had no talent, she still stubbornly used it, but now because she wanted to be stronger, she would give up and follow that benefactor. Hearing that, the elf enthusiastically supported her because she knew that the mistress would surely become stronger. They needed to think now about going down to another floor, but must rest first. Then they thought about the next floor. On this floor, there was a safe area for adventurers to relax, thanks to the Stone of the Sage that all creatures lower than A-class dared not approach, so they could freely bathe without worrying about their surroundings. Looking at that stone, Arya suddenly remembered the time when the village was attacked. The blacksmith changed her clothes. She took them all off. Tam Ma stood there and saw everything but still kept some dignity. She was trying to calm down when suddenly the owner called her to take a bath. She couldn't resist and had to swim with the two girls. The girl here, Arya, asked her friend what kind of team she would normally go on an expedition with. When she mentioned this, she started crying because, in fact, everyone had already disbanded. She still hasn't found any new teammates yet. This little story tells about the elemental cat's ability to mate with other species. Arya was reminded to be careful or she would be pinned down and get pregnant. She's still a child. I hadn't said anything yet, but when it comes to mating season, I don't know what she'll do. I thought the elf would be scared. Who would have thought that she was even more excited, hoping for that to happen? She also fondled Tama, telling her to grow up quickly and not take away her first time. He couldn't be happier with such a request. He was shocked. Who would have thought this friend would be so lewd? Later, they met a big minotaur. This creature was C-class, but with the weapon, it could be considered close to B-class. The blacksmith was only at rank C, so both sides would have to cooperate to defeat Arya, who started with extreme speed. However, she couldn't cause any damage to the monster. She rushed in and used her hammer to strike down, but Mino was big and had a shield. The couple persistently scratched the itch continuously, making the opponent angry. The buffalo would die after a long fight, so there was no need to risk it. The cat witnessed the owner like that, and was very surprised. Her breasts were so big, but they were not affected at all when moving at high speed. Minoto was blinded, his eyes were pierced, he threw random attacks. Seeing the situation, he was subjective and ended up being crushed by rocks. Luckily, at the critical moment, Tama used a wild roar to blow everything away and was saved. That little girl was also crushed by the rocks. Arya saw that and felt relieved, then stabbed the cow in the heart. This was the first time she had defeated a monster at her level, so she was very happy to cultivate, and considered him a strong male. In the future, she would ask for breeding from Bim after bringing the resources back. The cute older sister also praised the juniors. Anna looked at the stab wound and realized that Arya had gotten stronger. She was happy for them. When they first arrived, the elf was very weak, but now she had grown up like this, so the couple bought wine to celebrate the happy day. Just finished today, Arya was really grateful to her friend for inviting her to go together. She was in love with a rank BH, so she suggested forming an official team. In terms of personality, they had no choice. They didn't need to discuss. A was very sincere, and Tama was cute with support like CN. Their team would be stronger than ever. Arya was very happy because she had always played solo before, so she stepped in to act as a bridge between the two sides. That lady also lost sleep that night when these two girls used 4 grapefruits to clamp her down. If it was a normal kitten, it probably was holding its breath and then suddenly seeing the Tamdu River in front of him. It was also happy, as if this life was not meaningless. Suddenly, the status board announced that he had achieved the second form of beam. He still wanted to be like this more but couldn't avoid being discovered. After growing up, the next period of time for the 3 of them was extremely smooth, making everyone happy. Today, after going out, the couple unexpectedly saw the scene of a little girl being beaten. Because she was an orphan, no one came to help. Arya went to protect her, making the 2 bastards shy away because they knew that Tamma was an elemental cat who could beat a man to death. The other girl was saved and introduced herself as Lala, knowing that she lived a wandering life. The little elf brought her to a place that was considered a new home. This was a church that nurtured many children in difficult circumstances. They all knew Arya, so they greeted her. Lale's case had been received by the nun Miao, as she saw her owner was so noble to entrust homeless children to the church, which often came to take care of them again. But Beam was more determined to want to protect this smile at all costs. A few days later, they were called to the guild by Anna to do something. It turned out that today was the day Arya got a new rank card, so she congratulated her. But not long after that, she found out that the city next door was having many disappearances. According to the information her sister knew, the main reason was the demons, which made the three of them worried. Their actions were so obvious that it was highly likely they were plotting something. Arya heard this and wanted to know more, making Ken a bit worried. He asked if she was serious, and she replied, "If we ignore this, I'm afraid there will be many victims." She had hated the demon clan since childhood, so she didn't want to miss the opportunity. Even knowing they would be in danger, her friends decided to join her. Anna said that this time they would be accompanied by the strongest knights. One member had just arrived, and she explained that Sir Cedric was the eldest son of the Duke's family, and admired by many people. He was considered the protector of Labyrinth City, and was also an acquaintance of Ken, which made this mission a little easier. Arya greeted Cedric politely, making him quite happy, and he told her not to be so stiff. Anna spoke about Cedric's heroic deeds, saying that during Ragnarok, the large-scale war between humans and the demon god, Cedric played a critical role. When everything became most tense, a group of humans with superior power appeared, ending Ragnarok in a flash. Cedric, a great magician, had wiped out the enemy formations with a single spell, earning humanity the victory. Despite hearing this, Arya wondered because they still had not identified their enemy. Whether there were many enemies or not, Arya feared that going with this number of people would be difficult. Anna reassured her, saying that if Cedric was serious, he was truly formidable. Anna, who had known Cedric for a long time, spoke about him warmly, even acting intimately. This led the elf girl to think they were in love, which confused Arya, who didn't understand. Somehow, the next morning, Arya and her servant had prepared everything before leaving. Arya looked tense, making Ken worry that her fighting ability would be affected. He tried to comfort her, reminding her that this mission involved the hero team, so it was understandable for her to be nervous. Tama, her elemental cat, licked Arya's cheek, startling her and helping her forget her worries. She kissed Tama, marveling at how much she understood the little cat. It was clear Arya had feelings for Biote, and the thought made her heart race. Seeing this, Biote also seemed happy. Before departing, the group studied military tactics. The man with silver hair was named Danny, while the humanoid monster was called Howard. The redhead went by Kini, and the other woman was named Maretta. Two sisters, who had once been Ken's customers, joined in as well, adding excitement to the group. Arya introduced herself and Tama to the others. Seeing Tama, the two sisters couldn't resist picking him up, as elemental cats were both rare and adorable. As they journeyed, they were suddenly blocked by a group of monsters. Unsure why the creatures were there, the team decided to deal with them. Denny, known for his strength, stepped forward and cleared the road effortlessly. Without using any skills, he defeated the monsters in seconds. Arya was stunned by his power, realizing just how terrifyingly strong the heroes of the Age of Chaos were. Every member of the team had survived Ragnarok, making them incredibly powerful. Byam, a rank S hero, became eager to fight and joined the knights in battle. By evening, the group stopped at a village to rest. The villagers welcomed them but immediately reported that disappearances were still occurring. The vanguard team that had gone to investigate the demon clan ruins hadn't returned, and it was likely they were dead. This reminded Arya of her own unpleasant experiences. The group decided to rest for the night, as fighting demons in the dark wasn't ideal. While sitting at the dining table, a young girl asked why the group had become heroes. Two older men laughed, joking that they owed too much money and had to fight to make a living. Two older women shared more heartfelt reasons, saying they wanted to repay the soldiers who had saved their families. Sir joined, which sounded quite heavy, so Arya had to apologize to everyone, happily considering this normal. Sir Cedric mentioned that he only considered women as friends and wasn't capable of loving anyone, which was why he couldn't inherit the family title. For this reason, he chose to live as a knight, finding joy in the freedom to kill as he pleased. The girls were frightened by his blunt confession and didn't dare to ask any further questions. A moment later, the group of sisters went to take a bath and reminded him to always keep his body clean. Cedric intended to step out but was forced to stay by the four girls. His emotions were in turmoil, as if his heart was like a giant fruit tray, yearning to cultivate love for the cat instead. Embarrassed, he acted shy and avoided facing the S-class combatants, feeling trapped between their teasing remarks. He brushed it off as a case of force majeure, though deep down, he secretly enjoyed it. Meanwhile, Tama, the skinny elemental cat, lay comfortably on his mistress's lap, relishing the sensation of being massaged by Arya. The men's bathhouse was adjacent to the women's, and Cedric overheard the girls' laughter and screams, which stirred his curiosity. Unable to resist, he tried to sneak over, but Tama, fiercely protective of his mistress's privacy, blocked his path. Tama used his elemental skills to launch Cedric and another guy into the air, sending them flying. In the end, only the ghostly echoes of the girls' chatter enjoyed the bath's comfort, while Cedric begrudgingly admitted defeat. The next day, the group ventured deeper into the ruins. Sure enough, demons were lurking. After spotting a human subjugation team, the demon leader confidently declared that he would make sure none of them survived. Seeing the prey come directly to them saved the demons' effort, and they quickly moved to attack. The temporary team encountered their first wave of monsters, wolves, all C-ranked, posing no real threat. The knight wielding a shield called out to the wolves using a summoning skill, luring them closer. As soon as the wolves gathered, he displayed his immense physical strength, crushing the monsters with brute force. 2 other knights followed up, smashing through the remaining wolves with precision. The team's captain was thrilled, charging forward to slice a wolf clean in half. Observing his flawless swordsmanship, Cedric smiled, pleased that his old companion had not lost his touch. Not wanting to fall behind, Arya called upon Tama to handle the reinforcements. Biot, the S-rank hero, hesitated briefly before using his newest skill, a water jet attack with immense pressure. The powerful move pierced through the wolves, sending them fleeing. Arya was astonished at Tama's capabilities, as she hadn't realized elemental cats could possess such devastating skills. Even the knights were impressed, realizing that Tama was no ordinary creature. Witnessing the battle through a magical orb, a high-ranking demon seethed with anger. He recognized Tama's species and despised elemental cats, vowing to personally eliminate Tama. This demon, who had prepared a special trap, was disturbed by how everyone admired Tama, particularly Siri. Though the demon had seen elemental cats before, Tama stood out as exceptional, with an arsenal of skills and unmatched potential. Tama's power wasn't the only thing setting him apart. His body was controlled by an experienced holy knight, SMA, who further enhanced his abilities. Arya, seeing how much Tama was praised, grew even more attached to him, imagining a future where Tama, having grown stronger, would use his immense power to protect her and make her proud. The journey became more difficult as the group encountered the demon leader. Knowing that ordinary monsters would eventually fall, the leader chose to confront the heroes directly. He introduced himself as Barrow, one of the last survivors of the demon clan from the great battle of the past. Hearing this, the knights deduced that Barrow's actions were motivated by revenge, and he made it clear that this was only the beginning of a larger scheme. Barrow summoned his subordinates, A-rank monsters with extraordinary regenerative abilities. The knights were alarmed by his command over such formidable creatures. Cedric decided to divide the team to manage the threat, but Barrow anticipated this and activated a magical barrier to split the formation, isolating Tama. Now left to fight alone, Tama displayed no fear, worrying only about Arya's safety. It was clear Barrow's strategy relied on exploiting the team's weaknesses in group combat, signaling that this mission might end in tragedy. Although the monsters weren't particularly strong in combat, their regeneration was a significant problem. Even after severing their limbs, the monsters fully healed within seconds. Cedric, observing the situation, began formulating a counter-strategy. The knights advised the captain to focus on creating a distraction, as dealing with regenerating enemies was Cedric's specialty. The others prepared to support his plan. Cedric released his power to strike swiftly. The young knight followed through, charging forward and slashing with his weapon, which had a unique ability: it drained the opponent's vitality. This was a different kind of attack, one that rendered the monster's regenerative abilities useless, as their life force couldn't be restored. Barrow recognized this power as the extremely rare dark attribute magic, a force seldom seen in the world. He recalled that only the legendary great magician of the past war could wield such magic. Barrow, observing Cedric and the rank S soldiers struggling against his regenerating monsters, initially believed the battle would be easy. However, the appearance of Tama, no longer just an ordinary elemental cat, posed an unexpected challenge. Tama unleashed a relentless barrage of fire, aiming to scorch the battlefield and prevent Barrow's wounds from healing. Enraged, Barrow attempted to break free, but Ken and Arya worked together to hold him back. Using smoke and dust to obscure his vision, they distracted him, while Arya capitalized on her terrifying speed to strike. Her sudden attack caught Barrow off guard, and he took a hit. Expecting his wounds to heal as usual, Barrow was shocked to find that they didn't. Arya's power, it seemed, was uniquely effective at countering his regenerative abilities. Despite their success, the battle came at a price. Barrow retaliated with a poisoned knife, slashing Arya and leaving her gravely injured. As he succumbed to his injuries, Barrow delivered a chilling warning to humanity. This was only the beginning of their destruction, as a powerful entity had been revived. Back at the battlefield, the poison from Barrow's knife began spreading through Arya's body. Cedric identified it as dragon's poison, a lethal toxin for which no known antidote existed. The team rushed back to the city in a desperate attempt to save her. However, the doctors there confirmed their worst fears. There was no cure. Arya was given only half a day to live. The only potential remedy was to use the eyes or heart of a monster on par with an earth dragon, an almost impossible task. Without hesitation, Cedric decided to act. Guided by a ghostly memory, he rushed to the labyrinth where his own journey had begun. This life, in many ways, was owed to Arya, and no matter the odds, he was determined to save her. At the labyrinth, Cedric confronted the Earth Dragon, a colossal and ancient beast. The Earth Dragon was amused by Cedric's audacity. "A weakling like you dares to challenge me?" it roared. But Cedric, unwavering, stood firm in his resolve. The Earth Dragon's amusement quickly turned to anger. Transforming into its second form, BIH, it revealed its massive, more menacing body. The air around the labyrinth grew heavier, signaling that an epic battle was about to unfold. And that's it for today's recap. There's a lot more to come, so hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay tuned for the next chapter. See you in the next one.